So no one is arguing that LeBron should get a first or second place vote. I'm not arguing that yet. What I am saying is there is no argument for him not to be showing up third, fourth, fifth on a bunch of ballots other than we decided he's too old and we thought he wouldn't still be this good. And this year, particularly oddly enough, since he turned 40, he has been.
Nick Wright has voiced an opinion that many people have on their king, LeBron James. Stop treating him like a has-been. He is still one of the best players in the league. Better yet, he should be considered as the MVP. Be careful what you wish for. If that is what they're clamoring for, they need to face a harsh reality about the disposition this puts him in. For many people like myself, we are somewhat dismissive of the last few years of LeBron James. It's what we do to all the greats who have entered the twilight of their careers. There comes a point where they're no longer the same player. Keep in mind that it's different for everybody. We've seen players like Walt Frazier who decline in their early 30s. Then there are players like Kareem who were considered top 5 players as they were pushing 40. As long as they continue playing at a high level, we continue to judge them the same. If they show obvious signs of declining, then we don't factor in the failures they had. Think of Kobe Bryant from 2014 to 2016, Michael Jordan in his Washington Wizards years, or Shaquille O'Neal once he left the Miami Heat. There were many media members who were giving LeBron the same treatment after the 2020-21 season. Once they were bounced from the first round by the Phoenix Suns, they came to the logical conclusion that he was no longer the same player, that he couldn't be judged the same since he was on the decline. But the moment there were any signs of life, if there were any major accomplishments, they would add legacy points to enhance his argument in the GOAT discussion. But I find it very suspicious that they never deducted points when there were major failures that would disqualify any player from such an honor. There is a clear double standard. They can't have it both ways. Do we dismiss what LeBron has done the past 5 years, or should we view it like any other year from his career? It can only be one or the other. Unfortunately for them, the numbers hurt his case. Here are his combined averages from the 2020-21 season up to now. It's 27 points on 52% shooting, 7.9 rebounds, and 7.6 assists per game. Now let's take a look at his career averages. 27 points on 51% shooting, 7.5 rebounds, and 7.4 assists per game. He is quite literally up to par to what he's done for his entire career. Not only that, but some of his best numbers have occurred in the past 5 years. 2 of his 5 highest scoring averages have occurred during this span. 3 of his 8 highest assists per game averages have occurred during this span. 3 of his 6 highest rebound per game averages have occurred during this span. 4 of his 10 highest 3-point field goal percentage and field goal percentage averages have occurred during this span. There's no question that the numbers say that we should be judging him the same way. And remember, you didn't hear this from me first. This came from the mouths of the biggest LeBron supporters. They want everyone to view him as a top tier player that he supposedly is. But we're not only going to be highlighting the good things that he's done. They have taken every opportunity to remind us of the positive portion. It's fair that we also look at the negative. If there is a balance, we will come to the logical conclusion that he should be disqualified from ever being viewed as the greatest of all time. This shouldn't be viewed as an over-the-top statement. If we go through some of the things that he's failed to do, we would realize that we would disqualify any other player that was guilty of this. To start off, he went from winning a title to being bounced from the first round in the following year. Now I know what you're thinking. Anthony Davis was hurt and only played 5 games. That shouldn't count. But wasn't Chris Paul hurt for that entire series? He went to JJ Redick's old podcast and told him that he didn't know why they were guarding him. He couldn't shoot at all. That makes sense because he averaged 9.2 points on 38% shooting for the series. The Suns weren't at 100% either. The difference is that Devin Booker completely outplayed the reigning Finals MVP. He averaged 29.7 points compared to LeBron's 23.3 points. After losing the final 3 games, LeBron mentioned that his ankle sprain never fully recovered after returning 2 games prior to the start of the playoffs. He went from getting bounced from the first round to missing the playoffs altogether. On top of that, the 2022 Lakers are considered the most disappointing team in franchise history. They had 4 top 75 players on the same team. Yes, LeBron was injured and missed 26 games that year. That is something that is out of his control. What he could control was how he would integrate his new teammates into the system. He could have put his team in a better position to at least reach the playoffs in his absence. When he was healthy, he failed to do so. He went 25-31 for the games he played. They had a losing record even when he was on the floor. Even with all that talent, he did not make his team better. Getting injured doesn't save him from the failures that team experienced. In the following year, the Lakers made an unexpected run to the conference finals. For many analysts, LeBron was the best player for that playoff run. There seemed to be a divide on who deserved the most credit for their success. If it was James instead of Anthony Davis, should he also get the majority of the blame when they were failing to reach expectations? If he was getting praise for leading a team that far in the playoffs, what about what happened the previous 2 seasons? So if that team was good enough to reach the conference finals, there is no excuse for the type of year they had in 2024. LeBron, Davis, D'Angelo Russell, and Austin Reeves all played over 70 games. Despite their main core staying healthy, they finished with the 8th best record in the West. In the playoffs, they got bounced from the first round. With this context in mind, we can see the clear double standard that many media members create for LeBron. A lot of them go as far as to call him a top 5 player in the league. At worst, he's top 10. If a player of his stature is still considered a top 5 to 10 player, how would we react if they were guilty of doing the following in a 4-year span? Missing the playoffs, being the leader of the most disappointing team for the most storied franchise, getting bounced from the first round twice, being selected to the All-NBA 3rd team twice, and failing to receive a single vote for the MVP in 2024. Wouldn't they all be crushed by the media? Wouldn't they all disqualify such player from ever being considered a top 5 player of all time, let alone the GOAT? They would do it for everyone except one person. They obviously haven't. That's because deep down, they know he's nowhere near the same player. If that's the case, then it makes sense to not hold weight to all the recent failures. If they persist that he hasn't lost a step and he's still someone that is just below Jokic, SGA, Luka, and Giannis, that he should be held to the exact same standard. You can't have it both ways. So which is it? If it's the latter, then the GOAT debate should die forever. There is nothing left to discuss. For me personally, I wasn't holding too much weight to what LeBron was doing in the past few years. Now, I'm reconsidering everything. What about you all? Do you think LeBron should be held accountable for the past 5 years? Do you also see a double standard when it comes to him? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.